Every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello there, thank you for joining us on CoreTV Primetime News. I am Frank Homalape in our top stories. The leadership of the All Progressive Congress has accepted the emergence of Bukola Saraki as Senate President. Also in this program, President Muhammadu Buhari has assured of his administration's readiness to closely study the recent report by Amnesty International. And also Lagos Ambodi, Femi Falana, others commemorate the late MK Abiola and the annulled 1993 election 22 years after. And finally, the Super Eagles midfielder has told the Nigerian women team to go for victory when they played against Australia on Friday night. Thank you for joining us tonight. The leadership of the All Progressive Congress has accepted the emergence of Bukola Saraki as Senate President. They insist that Saraki remains an APC following several consultations among party leaders. National Chairman of the party, John Odigi Oyego, disclosed this on the sidelines of the meeting with members of the party's transition committee at the Defense House in Abuja. He also fought a claims in some quarters that the incident in the National Assembly could lead to the end of the party. The reports.
The tension that gripped the APC after the emergence of Bukola Saraki as Senate President has finally been laid to rest. This follows the party leadership's decision to finally accept and recognize the wish of the Senate. According to them, he was duly elected in the eyes of the law.
Nothing went wrong. There was just a lot of consultations to do. You can't be in two places at the same time. And so it was not possible for us to know. But we have been talking. He has been duly elected by his colleagues. End of story. We have a reality, and we must live with that reality.
They are also quick to insist that the crisis was in-house and, contrary to speculations, is not enough to derail the party.
There's no next step. What has happened is within the APC family, largely. And we're sorting it out within the family. And in a matter of hours, no, people said they were going to court, which is their right. We are taking everything, a broad look at everything. And I assure you, we are coming out stronger.
Many Nigerians had been silently watching the new ruling party for days as party leaders make conflicting utterances since the inauguration of the 8th National Assembly. And now that they have taken a final decision, analysts expect that focus will once again be on the business of governance. Basiaye, CoreTV News, Abuja.
Meanwhile, residents of Kano State in northwest Nigeria are divided over the emergence of Senator Bukola Saraki as Senate President. While a number of them see it as a good development, others see it in a different light. Our correspondent Amina Nebi has details in this report presented from our studios.
Nigerians are still speaking on the emergence of Senator Saraki as the Senate President. For a cross-section of Kaduna residents, there is nothing wrong with the manner the Kwara Central Senator became Nigeria's number 3 man. They insist that it's a welcome development. Some others faulted the process which led to Saraki's emergence, but want the party leaders and the government to accept it.
The issue we are in Nigeria are thirsty. They are thirsty. They are longing for a better change, a better things to come that they will enjoy, that we call dividends of democracy.
I believe there's a kind of assignment that APC are supposed to do, which they fail to do it. Bukola coming up at the end of the day to emerge as a president, Senate President, is a wrong decision for APC at the end of the day.
The consensus among the respondents is that it is too early for the ruling party to be engulfed in crisis. They also hailed the manner President Buhari accepted the outcome of the election in the 2 chambers of the National Assembly.
And our Senate President Bukola Saraki has eulogized the continued bilateral relations between Nigeria and the United Kingdom. He also assured the UK authorities of the determination of the Buhari administration to fulfill its obligations to citizenry. The Senate President, who said this while playing host to British High Commissioner Andrew Pocock in his office, also commended him for reinvigorating the mutual understanding between the two countries. He stressed that Nigeria will always look forward to Britain in areas of infrastructural development and social security. Earlier, the British High Commissioner had congratulated the Senate President on the success of his election, adding that the United Kingdom will always work harmoniously with Nigeria government in ensuring good governance at all levels. Senators in attendance included Deputy Senate President Ikechukwu, Senators Abdullahi Ibrahim, Abdurrahman Abubakar, Misao Hama, Dino Melaye, and Rafiu Ibrahim. And now the All Progressive Congress Transition Committee has submitted an 800-page final report to President Muhammadu Buhari. Speaking to State House correspondent after the presentation, Committee Chairman Ahmed Jod explained that President Buhari needs time to study the report before naming his cabinet. He also denied claims that the late submission of the report was responsible for delay in appointing cabinet members.
To a large extent, the President has had to wait for our report. But you know, I told you we were inaugurated by the President on Wednesday, the 29th of April. And we were to submit our report much earlier. But our terms of reference required us to receive the handover note of the government of President Ebele Jonathan. And this we did not receive until about 4 weeks after our inauguration. And as you probably know, we received that handing over note only on the 25th of May, nearly 1 month after we had started work. And that report was about 18,000 pages of paperwork. And it took time to even sort them out and to make sense of them, to read them, to analyze them, to get experts to interrogate the report and to come up with the report and recommendation. In order to be able to present this report this afternoon, our people were working until the last moment.
Away from there now, Lagos State Governor Kiwumi Ambode says non-abdication of duties by political office holders is the only key to the hope of a null June 12 presidential election judged to have been won by the late business mogul MK Abiola. Our correspondent Abiola Oluwole's reports that human rights lawyer Femi Falana and other speakers at the 22nd anniversary of the annual election held that the 1993 election remains a watershed in the history of Nigeria. His report is presented from our studios.
22 years after the annulment of the June 12, 1993 presidential election, presumably won by late Moshood Kashimawo Olawale Abiola by the Ibrahim Babangida-led military junta, Nigerians have continued to call on successive governments on the need to give the deserved recognition for those who played prominent roles during the June 12 struggle. The gathering was a platform to enable Nigerians remember the activities that led to the annulment of the presidential election. Speaking on the annulled poll, Governor Ambode says non-abdication of responsibility is the only way to keeping the legacies of late Abiola alive.
I urge you all to take some time and reflect on the democratic journey that we have commenced for the benefit of all of us. Should we abdicate our responsibilities and allow personal interests and agenda to truncate our journey? We owe it as a duty to immortalize the memories of our fallen compatriots and deepen our democracy to sustain us as a people of destiny.
According to Femi Falana, addressing the economic challenges confronting Nigerians by the federal government will be significant in the quest for realizing the vision of June 12.
In remembering June 12 today, we must make sure that the government in Abuja and the APC government in Abuja does not expose Nigeria to ridicule. Nigerians voted for change this time. The change must be total.
All the speakers at the event demanded national recognition for the day.
The ethnicization of June 12 is a disservice to Nigeria. And I think the time is now right for Nigeria to demonstrate commitment, superior commitment to the idea of June 12 by actually declaring June 12 a national holiday in this country.
The focal point of speakers at the gathering was hinged on the need for true federalism as a panacea for uniform development in the country.
And to commemorate the June 12th anniversary, civil rights groups and activists seek the opportunity of the holiday to stage a protest for pressing home the demands of the Osun workforce and pensioners. The protesters called for the resignation of the governor, Rauf Aregbesola, in the face of untold hardships civil servants are subjected to as a result of the 7-month salary owed by the government. Our correspondent Rashid completes the report.
It is a public holiday, but to Osun State workers and pensioners, it was a good time to demonstrate their displeasure on the non-payment of their salary through another round of protests. In what should have been a commemoration to acknowledge the fairest election in Nigeria's history, civil groups, activists and pensioners in Osun are on the streets to drive home their message to the government as they marched through major streets in Osogbo. According to them, June 12 signifies democracy, social justice and good governance, an expectation that crave from the Osun State government. The protest leaders decried the silence of civil organizations over the action of the government while calling for concerted efforts in making the government hack into the cause of the striking workers. While strike and protests become the order of the day in the state of the virtuous, the government still calls for calm among the workers, even as the workers vow never to leave the street until their demands are met. Rashid, CoreTV News, Osogbo.
In the meantime, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has called on the government and people of Nigeria to honor and remember the heroes of the country's democracy. This was contained in a statement released in Abuja on June 12 to mark this year's Democracy Day. In the statement released by the Atiku Media Office, the former Vice President described June 12 as one of the most significant days in Nigeria's political history and a day not to be forgotten. He added that the outcome of the elections were pitiful, with the elections being annulled by the then military government, but noted that Nigerians have been able to overcome the past with what took place on March 28. The statement also highlighted the effort of some of the country's heroes of democracy, without whom the former vice president said the gains would not have been achieved without people like the late Sheikh Musa Yar'Adua, the late MK Abiola, the late Kudirat Abiola, and the late Gani Fahimi, among others. Atiku also called on the upcoming leaders and aspiring Nigerian leaders of today to emulate these heroes of the country's democracy who willingly gave their all and some their lives for the benefit of the rest of us. People living with albinism have converged on Abuja to review their campaign against discrimination against people living with the condition. The national coordinator of the Albino Foundation, Jake Epele, says plans have been concluded for international collaboration to end the trend in Nigeria. Our correspondent Basil Okafo has more in this report from our studios.
June 13 was set aside by the United Nations to mark International Albinism Awareness Day in 2014. These albinos who are here at the headquarters of the National Human Rights Commission for this year's event came from across the country and beyond. In this auditorium, they have one thing in mind: to end what they described as dehumanization of people with albinism all over the world.
We are working hard with the international community and all the organs, and including your station, to bring the information, the right information, and to educate people accurately and precisely so that they'll be aware of these discriminations.
Well, I'm delighted that at the United Nations, the countries of the world are seized of the issue, and there's growing momentum to work together internationally, as I said, to promote awareness. I think a big part of this is education. We have to inform people that albinos are brothers and sisters. They may look a little different from some other people, but fundamentally they're human beings like the rest of us, and we mustn't discriminate against them.
Gift Agoha and Noye Ogwagu, who were severally discriminated against on account of their condition, narrated their experience to CoreTV News.
I personally, I suffered this when I was a child. When I was in primary school and through my secondary school, people made me to believe that I'm not normal. People made me to believe that I'm sick. It affected me, it affected my academics, it affected my emotions, because I started isolating myself. I was having this inferior complex that I'm not a human being. So there should be awareness to let people know that, hey, these people living with albinism, they are normal people. Don't stigmatize them, don't insult them, don't make them feel so bad. They are the same with us. It's the same God that created us.
I can say that why people face all these things because of ignorance. Just because the society doesn't know about albinism. Because the discrimination starts from the home. When you have a child with albinism, you think is a curse from the gods, or you have a child that has a disease or disabled, because people with albinism have this sight challenge.
The participants say the Albinism Day focuses on raising public awareness and preventing attacks and discrimination against persons.
You can have, like in some families.
You're watching CoreTV Prime Time News. We'll take a break now. Be back shortly with more stories. Do join us again.
That's a sign of protest, saying that things are not good.
Women share the most amazing thoughts.
When it's close to the time, our people will protest
on national issues.
That was their own point.
That was an accident. That is different.
And to do it
Politics is about being a servant.
passionately.
Without a woman, there will be no success at all.
Sharing the adorable word of women.
There are some women who have what it takes.
In politics.
Margaret Thatcher, Iron Lady. When she's too soft, she's too soft.
Only on CoreTV News.
If you just joined us, this is CoreTV Primetime News live from our Lagos studio. A quick reminder of our top stories now. The leadership of the All Progressive Congress has accepted the emergence of Bukola Saraki as Senate President. Also in this program, President Muhammadu Buhari has assured of his administration's readiness to closely study the recent report by Amnesty International. Lagos, Sambodi, Femi Falana, others commemorate the late Emperor Abiola and all Nigeria to free election 22 years after. Well, thank you for being there. You can also join our conversation on our social media platforms, like our Facebook page is facebook.com/CoreTV News. You can also follow at CoreTV News NG. For live streaming now, log on to youtube.com/CoreTV, leave your space, the news. And now the military has banned the use of camouflage uniforms by various security agencies other than the Army, Navy, and the Air Force. It, however, says the Nigerian police can use the uniform when in joint operation with the military or on special operations such as specific anti-riot missions. Defense spokesman Major General Chris Olukolade said in a statement that the new rule followed a directive of the National Security Council on streamlining the use of camouflage uniforms. This, he said, was in view of the security implications and concerns raised on the clamor, duplicity and proliferation of camouflage uniforms in the country. The defense spokesman added that all paramilitary agencies using various camouflage fatigues uniforms have up to January 2016 to withdraw such materials currently in their inventory. And our wife of the president, Buhari, on Friday met with two mothers of girls who were among the 200 abducted from Chibok, Kano State last year. The meeting, which also had the wife of the vice president, Dolapo Shibajo, in attendance, presided an audience with President Muhammadu Buhari at the Defense House in Abuja. Mrs. Shibajo later told State House correspondent that the meeting provided an opportunity for the president and his wife to comfort and assure the parents of the missing girls of their support. According to her, Buhari had always wanted to visit Chibok. More than 63,000 internally displaced persons are taking refuge in various camps in Plateau State. The Executive Secretary of the Plateau State Emergency Management Agency, Alhaji Al-Hassan Bade, told CoreTV News that the IDPs were from Borno, Adamawa, Yobe, Nasarawa, Taraba State.
The fallout of Boko Haram insurgency has resulted into having more internally displaced persons in the country. The Executive Secretary of Plateau State Emergency Management Agency says those displaced by the violence attacking Plateau State were about 34,029. He affirms a very tough time in catering for the basic needs of the IDPs, which includes provision of food, shelter, clothing, health, toiletries, and beddings.
Basically, there are food items, non-food items, and building materials. And what we have brought now is to provide succor for the victims of the disaster. We have rice, we have beans, we have curry, we have millet.
Reacting to the unbearable situation, the chairman of the Berkenladi local government area, Honorable Emmanuel Liam, says the federal government must step in to stem the cancer of crisis that is eating the Plateau State in order not to have a repeat of Sambisa experience elsewhere in the country.
Evidence in the past whereby ID card were found at the spot of crisis or spot of attacks. Bell, shoes, all whatnot were found there, but no any action has been taken to serve as a deterrent to others.
It is the expectations of Nigerians that the present government of Muhammadu Buhari will find a lasting solution to the ravaging Boko Haram insurgency in Nigeria.
President Muhammadu Buhari has once again given assurance of his administration's readiness to closely study the recent report by Amnesty International, which indicted top rankings, retired and 7 military officers. Presidential spokesman Garba Shehu said in a statement that the president is quite disturbed by allegations contained in the report. This, according to him, is with a view to confirm or disapprove the disturbing details which the military has since dispelled as blackmail. Shehu added that the President Buhari has already determined that one of the first assignments of the incoming Attorney General of the Federation will be to look into the Amnesty International report and advise the government on an appropriate course of action. And now the Nigerian police have given assurance of zero tolerance in the fight against corruption and criminality. They gave this assurance at a training workshop on reporting corruption using Stop the Bribe, a web-based platform representing the Inspector General of Police Solomon Rashid, the Assistant Superintendent of Police Tony Jaloye of the Force Criminal Intelligence and Investigation Department in Abuja. He urges the general public to give the Nigerian police a chance and not to suggest bribes.
Let us try and support the police. Don't offer any police any money. Like the IG used to say, bail is free as well. Let the police do their job. Then, if they are not doing their job properly, then you can report.
Inspector General of Police, Mr. Solomon Arase, has adopted this platform and has commended it, and he is urging Nigerians, when you find incidents of corruption, to go online, stopthebribe.net, and to make your report.
And now the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has filed fresh corruption charges against a former governor of Bayelsa State, Timothy Silva, at the Federal High Court in Abuja. Silva is charged alongside Francis Okokuro, Benga Balogu, and Samuel Obuku. They allegedly used 3 companies: Marlin Maritime Limited, 8 Catering Services Limited, and Halloween Blue Construction and Logistics Limited to move about 19.2 billion naira from Bayelsa State coffers between 2009 and 2012 under false pretense of using the money to augment salaries of civil servants. The move comes 2 days after Justice Ahmed Mohammed dismissed the 42-count charge of stealing brought against Silva and his co-accused on grounds that the prosecution's application to consolidate the charges against the defendant amounted to an abuse of court processes. The commission had faulted the ruling on the ground that it was premature, as the accused person had not taken any plea before the court. A date has not been fixed for the new trial. And now the Lagos State High Court has sentenced one Osare Winda Idaho, also known as Sas Idaho, to 2 years imprisonment on each of 2-count charge bordering on possession of documents containing false pretense. The convict was arrested by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission following a petition from American Space Agency NASA alleging that the suspect hacked into its email account to send scam messages for advance fee fraud. EFCC said in a statement that investigations revealed that the convict disguised himself as one Mrs. Carlo Charles, a cancer patient who wanted to donate $10,500,000 to the motherless, widows, and less privileged. The convict, upon arraignment on May 25, 2015, pleaded guilty to the charge. Consequently, trial judge Justice Ogunsoya adjourned the case to June 11, 2015 for ruling and sentencing. When the matter was called June 11, Justice Ogunsoya sentenced the convict to 2 years imprisonment without any option of fine on each of the count charges. The sentencings are to run consequently. And now the Economic and Financial Crime Commission has secured the conviction of one Usman Salisu Salisu Usman, who was brought before the Justice DJ Oboki of the Kano State High Court on a 3-count charge bordering on criminal breach of trust and forgery. He was sentenced to a jail term of 1 year or a fine of 250,000 on the first count and 10 months or a fine of 200,000 naira and the second charge and a 6-month jail term on the third count. Umaru was arrested in 2013 by EFCC operatives following a petition received from Jibrin Umaru, who alleged that sometimes in May 2013, Umaru sold his landlord property at plot 1258 located at Kawaji Quarters in Kano without his authorization. The convict was alleged to have impersonated the son of the petitioner and sold the land for 15 million naira by presenting a forged authority letter and sales agreement papers purportedly signed by the landowner. In her judgment, Justice Aboki noted that the prosecution counsel has proved the charges against the convict beyond reasonable doubt. Edo State Governor Adams Oshiomhole has reaffirmed his decision to partner with the Nigerian police force in the area of logistics. He said the reassurance when he visited the IGP at the force headquarters in Abuja. The governor saluted IG Arase giant stride since assumption of office and maintained that the impact of his wealth of professional competence is being felt in Edo State. He added that Nigerians across the nation have started feeling the benefit of the Rashes-led police. In his response, the police boss pledged his commitment to advance security in Nigeria and his readiness to ensure that policemen exhibit the highest ethical standard and the discharging of their duties. And now, Kano State Governor Nasiru El-Rufai has decried the detention of people in prison for minor offenses. He made his position known when he visited the Kaduna convent prison. RFI also assured residents of plans to improve skill and vocational training within and outside the prison in order to reduce crime in the state. Our correspondent, Amina Nebi, has more in this report from our studios.
In continuation of his familiarization visit, Governor El-Rufai was at the Kaduna prison where he expressed concerns at the number of inmates awaiting trial. He also decried the practice of keeping people in prison for minor offenses. He said his administration will work to improve the skill and vocational training in order to reduce the rate of crimes. And after he concluded the tour of the congested prison, the Kaduna State Governor said it will work together with the prison authorities to improve facilities within the prison.
This briefing that compelled me to come here, not only to assess the situation on the ground, but also to begin to do something about the very high percentage of inmates awaiting trial in our prisons.
Briefing the governor, prisons controller Abubakar Gaba said the convicts prison was established in 1915 with capacity for 547 inmates. He, however, noted that over 1,000 inmates, including 114 condemned criminals, are housed there. The prison authorities also solicited the assistance of the state government in the area of logistics.
Render educational, vocational, religious and social services, taking their stand as to make them self-reliant. The Nigerian Prison Service Kaduna Prison is having the privilege of having one of the study centers of the National Open University. We have 2 inmates that are currently undergoing the degree program in political science and computer science.
Chief Judge of Kano State, who was also on the governor's entourage, however, gave assurance that the judiciary will cooperate with the executive to actualize its objectives.
I appreciate what we do in the judiciary, and I assure you that we are going to continue doing with the assistance of the prisons and the police and all those stakeholders in the administration of justice.
The state government promised to do all possible best in meeting the needs of the prison authorities, but also solicited for the cooperation of all the arms of government.
A fatal accident has occurred along Aba Road in Ebonyi State, claiming the life of a young man, Ikechukwu, who came out in the early hours of today. The accident, which involved an Infiniti SUV and a Toyota Carina 2, was so serious that everyone who passed by Aba Road had to stop to have a glare. The SUV owner have realized that Ikechukwu was dead and did not hesitate to tow his vehicle from the scene but forgo his plate number behind. Many at the scene faulted his action and as well blamed Ikechukwu for overspeeding. You're still watching CoreTV Primetime News. We'll take another break and I'll be back with sports, business and other stories. Join us again.
As news breaks, people don't let events pass without giving their comment or reactions.
When the problem arises in society, these are the people that you'll be consulting.
To cleanse the corruption in society, we are not to provide information for good life and also security of life and property in this country.
The academic society have the loudest voice on this platform.
Whether you call it a sovereign national conference or a national conference, it's just about the people of Nigeria.
There should be a change in power.
In any way they can do it.
I think there's a script already.
Every Tuesday at 8:45 p.m. on this station. From the Ivory Tower, a must-watch for the learning minds.
The federal government has received teaching equipment from an international oil firm for distribution to 6 universities. The 6 benefiting universities are Akwa Ibom State University, Anambra State University, University of Jos, and Federal University of Technology in Akure. Others are University of Ilorin and Federal University of Petroleum Resources, Ifuru, in Delta State. Speaking after receiving the teaching aids, government officials applauded the private sector intervention in Nigeria universities. Well, we'll bring you that report in our subsequent bulletins. Away from there now to entertainment now. Christopher Lee, the British actor, will mastermind or master the horror roles before his turns as James Bond villain and Wizard Suman. And the Wizard Suman in the Lord of the Rings trilogy is dead. Christopher Lee played Dracula, the bad guy in James Bond thriller, The Man with the Golden Gun, and the deliciously evil wizard Saruman in the Lord of the Ring films, among others. Ali initially made his name in horror films. His first major horror role was as Frankenstein's creature, and then the infamous vampire Dracula in a series films for Britain's Hammer Film Studios from the 1950s until the 70s. In his last few years, he did just that for many fans. He turned to a heavy metal career, releasing the holiday albums A Heavy Metal Christmas and Heavy Metal Christmas Tour in 2012 and 2013, endearing himself to yet another group of fans, many of whom reacted to the news of his death with an outpouring of celebration and sadness. And now, American shock rocker Marilyn Manson has been honored with a Lifetime Achievements Prize at Britain's Kerrang Awards for a musical career spanning over 2 decades. The 4-time Grammy nominee, whose real name is Brian Warner, is known for his controversial stage persona, inspired black outfit and heavy makeup. Manson, who rose to fame in the 90s and released his 9th studio album, The Pale Emperor, in January, said the accolade from British rock magazine Kerrang was important to him as many of his influences were from the UK. The star had stated at some point in a funny statement that the more legend awards you get, the closer you get to the grave. And in sport now, the Super Eagles midfielder has told the Nigerian women team to go for victory when they played against Australia on Friday night, as he told them to tighten the defense. Onaze was presently in the Super Eagles camp ahead of Saturday's Africa Cup of Nations qualifying game against Chad, says he and his teammates are keenly watching the Falcons and wishing them well. He said he thinks they have a very good team and the attack is very strong as well as the midfield, but the defense is where they need to work a little bit. According to him, he also took time to praise star player Azizato Shola, who scored a goal against Sweden in glowing terms.
She's a great girl. I speak with her always on Instagram and I try to encourage her in my own little way. Not only her, with the other ones. And I try to let her know that she has the whole country behind her and she should just go and just deal with any defense that they meet there. They should just try and convert more of the chances to goal. That's the most.
The former Super Eagles midfielder has called on Nigerians not to condemn Manu Garaba's team for crashing out of the second round of Under-20 World Cup. Instead, embrace the positives. Many had tipped Manu Garaba's side to win the competition after the heroics at the African Youth Champions, where they emerged champions but saw their juggernauts halted in the round of 16 by Germany, who got their lone goal courtesy of Levin Sunali's first half strike. Adepoju was a member of the Flying Eagles squad that placed second at 1980 Under-20 World Cup played in Saudi Arabia, said the team would have learnt from their mistakes, which is very key in the building process. And many people could swear that they had seen next Austin Jay Jay Okocha when Rabiul Ibrahim burst onto the scene in 2007 as a member of the victorious Nigeria Under-17 side as a diminutive 5'7" inches tall midfielder had it all. The swift hunt, the array of juggling skills, the gait, vision and joy to watch that made for comparison with the Nigerian legend. He ended last season with his first true silverware since that victory in Asia in 2007. Playing 17 games and scoring 4 goals in a team that had compatriots Kingsley Madu and Emmanuel Edmond Ibrahim, and Tresin won the Slovakian Superliga for the first time. He also scored a goal in the Slovak Cup final as Tresin defeated Senica via penalties after full time ended 2-2. With his confidence, Ibrahim arrived at the Super Eagles camp after being called up by coach Stephen Keshi for Friday's 2017 Africa Cup of Nations qualifying game against Chad in Kaduna. The striker goes philosophical about the past and the problems and say he takes everything as part of life. And our host Chile began their quest for a maiden Copa America title with victory over Ecuador in Santiago. The match began so fiercely as midfielder Arturo Vida was brought down in the box by Mila Bolaños in the second half and picked himself up to convert the penalty for Chile. Former keeper man Eduardo Vargas netted the second, calmly slotting home as Matias Fernandez was sent off late, and then Ecuador's best chance fell to West Ham striker Ene Valencia, who struck the crossbar with a close-range header. Chile have never won the competition in its 99-year history, coming runner-up on 4 occasions, the last being in 1987, and having reached the last 16 of the 2014 World Cup. The Chileans are third favourites behind Argentina and Brazil to lift the trophy this year. The top 2 sides from the 3 groups will progress to the quarterfinals, as well as the 2 best third-place teams, with this side lining up alongside Mexico and Bolivia in Group A. And now the Manchester United have confirmed the signing of PSV forward Memphis Depay on the 4-year deal with an option for a 5th season. The deal for the 21-year-old is believed to be worth around 30.8 million and was completed in early May despite late interest from rivals Liverpool. This is a dream come true for me, and I coach to play for the biggest club in the world and also to have the chance to work with Louis van Gaal. The lad who has been in PSV and doing since he was 12 took time to thank them and also for winning the league this previous season. Louis van Gaal, the Manchester United coach, who took the page to the World Cup 2014 as part of his Netherlands squad, said he knows Memphis well from his time working together in the Netherlands national team, and said he's a young, versatile player who has the ability to play in a number of different positions. You have been watching CoreTV Primetime News. Just before we go tonight, a recap of our major headline. We told you that the leadership of the All Progressive Congress has accepted the emergence of Bukola Saraki as Senate President. We also brought to you that President Muhammadu Buhari has assured of his administration readiness to closely study the recent report by Amnesty International. And finally tonight, Lagos Ambodi, Femi Falana, others commemorate the late MP Abiola and the annual 1993 election 22 years after. Well, and that's it tonight on CoreTV Primetime News. On behalf of the entire news crew, I am Frank Omalape. Have a splendid night.